Welcome to episode 30 of Crave the Book. In today's episode, we talk about chapters 53 through 57 of Tracy Wolff's Crush. And I'm laughing because we go a little off the handle with some vampire anatomy. So if you're squeamish at all, I apologize for this episode. We asked some very scientific questions, obviously, but we had fun this episode. Amber's sick and I'm sick, and we're finally able to relax and have a little discussion about our favorite series together. So we hope that you'll join us. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, episode 30. That's a fun number. That's right. People in their 30s are cool. I'm cool, right? I'm hip.
Love me.
Guys, we are going to have a fun episode today because there's some good scenes that we get to cover. We don't have a lot of spoilers this episode, we just realized, so we'll have to think of those on the way. I'm sure that we'll think of something to talk about. The thing is, we've kind of already covered like everything in terms of the potential spoilers that it's been covered in past episodes. So anything that we talk about in this episode, we've likely already covered, but we'll think of something. I'm sure that there will be something spoilery. But let's go ahead and give them their warning just in case, Amber, in the event that you haven't read the rest of the series, Crush, probably Covet, and most likely a little bit of Court. There's a specific sound that you're going to want to listen out for. Amber, do you want to let them know what that sound is?
Yeah. So the sound that you want to look forward to every single week is, of course, the wolf howl. Sounds like this. And that is the noise to signify that everything previously mentioned before that noise was relatively spoiler-free. And was specifically based on the episode chapters that we decided to read. And then everything after the sound is probably going to ruin your day if you haven't read them. So just make sure to top out and come back whenever you have read them, just to make sure that you don't get anything spoiled or ruined, because we go quite in depth. Today's spoilers are empty, as Starla has said. So I can't say that we're going to spoil too much. But we do get a bit excited midway through the podcast normally, so no promises.
Yeah, you never know what the spoilers will contain. And like last week, Amber is not feeling well. She's still
COVID.
Yeah, she's still a little snuffly. I'm a little snuffly today as well, so you guys get like the double snuffle special.
Yes, is that the title?
Yeah, the double snuffle special. I don't think that's very search engine optimized.
And it sounds like it involves ice cream and pecan nuts.
Double snuffle special.
Ice cream.
I don't know about that. It sounds like something with snot. I need to go snuffle.
Well, I don't know, but in America, that snot is probably a flavor of ice cream that you can get.
Yeah, well, you know, everything's got to have a delicious fruity flavor in America.
Mm-hmm. Even blue has a flavor.
All right. Do you want to pop in to your very first topic, or you want to? I guess this whole. There was a lot that went on, and I can't even remember what was taking place when we left off. I remember
So we had the study session, and Hudson was helping Grace channel Macy's magic.
That's right.
And then she lit up the room with all the candles, and then all of a sudden Hudson poofs and disappears.
That's right. And now Jackson and Flint are very, very nervous now, realizing that, it's like they just now realized, he's in your head.
In your head.
Just walking
around. He's like a
toddler.
Around. He's like, oh no, he's quiet. Where's he gone?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
And Flint's like, oh, you're just going to let him like wander around and you're not worried that he's going to go and
Like,
mess something up in there?
Sabotage your brain whilst you're asleep.
And then we get that beautiful scene where Grace is like, oh yeah, but we give each other privacy sometimes, like when I'm showering.
Yep. And then Jackson pops in with I never even thought of you taking a shower or getting undressed. I'm like, dude, do you even have a penis?
Yeah, like it never occurred to him. He's never thought about.
Like, he's quite clearly sexual. It's not like he isn't interested in that sort of thing from Grace. So why hasn't he thought of her in the shower or come to the realization that not only he would be interested in her in the shower, Hudson would also be interested in her in the shower, and might even use it as like bait or leverage in arguments because he's the only one that has seen Grace naked so far, because Jackson hasn't tried at all to get in her pants. Recently.
I mean, to be fair, he's kind of tried, but Grace has been like, no. There's Hudson's watching.
Do you reckon? Because like, also he's like a 17-year-old, essentially, isn't he? He's like 17, 18, right?
That would mean that he wouldn't be able to stop thinking about it. Like, you would think that that's like peak hormonal time for a young lad at a nice little boarding school where classes are conveniently combined with boys and girls and no one's really separated, and the children seem to be able to just pop into each other's bedrooms whenever they feel like it.
Yeah, but also on the other hand, he could be 150 years old and after having like a 70-year-old dry spell.
He's like, I don't need it. Take it or leave it.
He's like, I'm done with that part of my life now.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that you're naked under those clothes. Yeah.
Like, surely he knows his brother as well. To know that his brother is very full of innuendos and probably looking at his girlfriend at every opportunity, even if it isn't because he likes her, is because he's a guy.
I get the impression that Jackson doesn't really know Hudson at all, though. Like, because nothing that he knows about Hudson is true, and everything that Hudson is kind of shown is a bit of a front.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. We get that first bit of Grace really like fighting back on Jackson, though, because Flint wants to go flying and Jackson's like, oh no, she's already been through too much. And Grace is like, no, I'll go, even though she doesn't really want to. It's more that she doesn't want Jackson to choose for her and say you can't go. And she says that the guy's a bulldozer. And I was just thinking, like, does Jackson get compared to anything other than, like, vehicles?
Inanimate objects.
Yeah, we've got he's a bulldozer. He's a blimp. He's a blimp dozer. That's Jackson the blimp dozer. That's our next hashtag. Hashtag blimp dozer.
Yep. Blimp dozer.
Blimp dozer. It's for taking out all of those, all of that sky clutter.
It's just got a little like scoop at the front.
Yeah. Doesn't seem
catching clouds.
Doesn't seem very practical, but
Well, Jackson isn't.
So
like if you were to like be like you're playing house, right? You're playing house. You have a house with Jackson and you need him to put up a shelf. Do you think he could do it?
I think that he would use his telepathy to lift the shelf and
forever. No,
he would
just permanently levitating.
Yeah,
he doesn't know how to use a hammer. He doesn't know how to use any of the tools that would be required to make sure that the shelf is airtight.
Either that, or he'd get somebody else to do it. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't know how to do that.
Meanwhile, Hudders, little Huddy Hudson, he would watch YouTube videos and learn how to do it. It would be the worst shelf you've ever seen, but he tried.
I don't know if Hudson does woodworking, he might know how to hang a shelf. He might know how to make a shelf.
Do vampires even need shelves?
I
mean, they have a lot of books.
For their wooden horses and
extensive literature collection.
And all of those thermoses, all those blood cups. Do you think that it's like when you go into like, you know, a college like dorm room and how like dudes have all like the empty beer cans and trash laying around? Do you think it's like that but with like old blood cups laying everywhere?
Yes, but I also have an image of you know when they're going through weight training and they have those big like kegs of powder.
Protein powder?
Muscle powder.
Muscle powder.
I imagine those as well. It's like they like to like add a bit of protein to their shakes.
Just give you a little scoop. Like at what point does food begin and liquid end? Because they can drink tea, but they can't eat food. So could they take a blood cup and sprinkle in like, we'll do like a little bit of protein, a little bit of creatine, you know, all their goods. They can shake it up in a shaker cup, which you guys, when you were here, you thought was an egg beater. Apparently the Brits don't have blender bottles yet. We need to.
Oh no, we do. Our household just doesn't.
Oh, okay. I thought that it was like a strange foreign object.
My husband is already huge and beefy and doesn't need muscle protein.
Oh yeah,
Are you listening, Scott?
Amber's husband's like a bodybuilder. He's like all he's all striated and vascular. He doesn't blend anything. He just chugs it straight. You know, like Rocky with the raw eggs. Yeah,
just straight down. He doesn't need to blend that shit. Straight down.
Absolutely.
Are you listening, Scott? Are you listening?
Spoiler alert: we're lying. Neither of our husbands are bodybuilders.
Sylvester Stallone.
Mine used to be, but then we found the wonders of food, and you know, we found that food is a lot better than
food is life.
Food is life. Which is why it would suck to be a vampire, because you know, I've tasted blood in quantity, like cutting my lip, and you know, I've had accidents where my mouth has accumulated a large amount of blood.
I don't know what you're actually admitting to here.
Oh, the worst was...
The more that you go, it's like, there's another one? There's another way that you got blood in your mouth? What is going on?
The worst was at El Rancho Grande, the Mexican restaurant that we took you to when you were here. I ate a tortilla chip, and it turned like vertical in my mouth and went through the like actual soft palate at the top of my roof of my mouth, and my mouth just instantaneously like filled with blood. It was awful.
Ew.
Thankfully I was drinking a margarita, so I was able to sanitize the wound, but
so Bloody Mary.
But it does taste like when you don't have pennies when people say they like suck
yes,
on a
we do.
Suck on a penny, like, but are they the same as our pennies?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever sucked on one?
No, because doesn't sound nice.
No, it's not nice, but every little kid at some point is like, money, and they shove it in their mouth like a little idiot. Like but anyway.
No, it's the taste of copper.
Yeah, it's coppery. It tastes,
and that's what we call. So we have cash, which is the paper stuff, and then we have the coins, but which we call it a shrapnel, and then the like really really low value ones, the penny and then the 2p, we call coppers because they are made of copper. Incidentally, it's also the name of a policeman, so I don't really know.
You'll never
where
get
slang
me,
comes from.
copper.
And you're just like, you're running away from a 2p.
Anyway, yes, blood cups. So I think that the thing that I found the funniest about this book in particular is how little time that they have to plan everything. And the way that they planned everything, they're like, okay, so we'll do Ludaire's on Wednesday, because if one of us gets murdered in the Dragon Boneyard, then we won't be able to play Ludaire's. So we'll do the Boneyard on Thursday, and then we'll do the Unkillable Beast on Friday or Saturday. And it's just like, we can't risk dying on a Tuesday because we've got sports on Wednesday. Like, it reminded me of the conversation we had yesterday about that meme or photo that's been going around where it's like, if you do not choose to take a day off, your body will pick a day for you. And wouldn't it just be very inconvenient if, like, on Unkillable Beast Day, everybody just woke up and they're like, not today, too sleepy.
Their bodies are just like, I have nothing left to give.
Yeah, maybe next weekend. But this is, the time crunch is because it's pointless. It's a pointless time crunch because they're only trying to do this as quickly as they possibly can, because Grace thinks that Hudson is kind of breaking through the wall that the bloodletter put up after he punched the hole in her bedroom wall. Mm-hmm. So she thinks that he's like...
Which she hasn't told anybody. But yeah. So they're going on their own timeline anyway.
Yeah.
They'd be moving even faster if they realized that he was able to punch in a wall.
It's because Jackson's super duper horny and he's really upset.
He's not, though. He's not. Otherwise, he'd be trying to sneak some glances at Grace in the shower, too. How omnipotent do you want to be in order to sneak a glance of a girl in a shower? He is a vampire. He has super speed, super hearing. He could disappear before she's even noticed he's there, and he doesn't do shit. He's a gentleman.
The thing is, I don't think that she would care. And that's the thing, is this would be an opportune time for them to fool around if they wanted to, because they can't fool around in front of Hudson, because Hudson doesn't shut up the whole time. But if they both went in the shower when Hudson is already allotting her some privacy time, I mean, it only makes sense. It's like that episode of Rick and Morty where the one aliens won't look at Rick and Morty while they're naked, so they get naked when they, you know what I'm, in the simulation? Yeah. Yeah. It's all you got to do is get naked, and then Hudson will not look at you.
Also, like, Hudson's a man. He knows that there's going to be a moment where Grace needs to relieve herself, not necessarily in the bathroom.
She's eaten a lot of Pop-Tarts and granola bars, and sweetie, that's a lot of fiber. That's all coming out your butt.
She also has that excuse as well.
Yeah.
I just need to skip to the bathroom. Bye.
Yeah, that girl...
And then wink at Jackson. Problem is, she wouldn't be able to coordinate with Jackson without him knowing.
You know, and they've got such good hearing. Like, if I really needed to tear up a toilet, I feel like I would be more prone to go out in those freezing cold woods and, like, pop a squat behind a log, as opposed to taking a poop in a paranormal school where everybody has super good hearing. Do vampires
and
poop?
smell? Well, they've not got anything to get rid of, do they?
Well, they don't poop in Twilight. I've had long discussion. I mean, it's not, I don't know if it's canon, but I've had lots of discussions in the Twilight community, or at least, you know, been the fly on the wall in the Twilight community about the pooping, and we've kind of all mutually agreed that they just don't poop. It's like a Barbie doll, how they've got butt cheeks, but there's just nothing
like
in between.
Barbie doll.
Yeah, there's nothing in between the cheeks.
Well, then that means that they're not allowed to be entirely that sexual, are they?
You're right. That would be an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the compromise is that, well, not in Twilight, because in Twilight they're all way too straight, but there's obviously the sexual tension between Bella and Alice, but that's different.
That's something that everybody else read between the lines. That's definitely not something that Stephanie Meyer wrote in.
All the guys are just way too straight, wicked straight. But
and very godlike with the no sex before marriage.
Yes, they're very they have all these very fancy morals. But in the Crave universe, things are different. Things are a little bit more realistic and modern.
Yeah.
And
so if Jackson doesn't have a butthole, poor him and Flint are gonna have issues.
I don't know how they have to, but here's the thing, okay? If we're having a legitimate discussion. I know that some of you are like rolling your eyes right now, but we need to figure this out. So bear with us. Evolution, right? You evolve, your body evolves. It evolves in order to maintain functions and speed up certain functions and make other functions more efficient. And then things that you no longer need, for example, wisdom teeth. People are starting to be born without them because we have wisdom teeth when we were Neanderthals, right? We needed a broader bone structure. Mm-hmm. We needed more teeth. There was a lot more ripping and tearing of foods
chewing.
And meats. Yeah, we
didn't know how to make a nice rare steak.
Exactly. There was more gnawing taking place. Gnawing. But now, I personally am someone who only has 2 wisdom teeth, but they're on opposite sides, one top left, one bottom right. And that is all my body has created. And there are also younger generations who aren't getting them at all because the body is starting to evolve it out. So, in theory, if vampires do not poop, would they not eventually not have a need for a bungus? Look, I'm
yes, you are correct scientifically.
However,
I feel like if the universe, the world, is as gender fluid and sexually fluid, whatever the word is, then there would be a requirement for it, but it would be a different use for it.
Got it.
So, for example, the spleen or the appendix is not necessary for any current human functions.
Right.
And they would be phased out. Same with wisdom teeth. We don't use them in any other capacity.
Okay.
But a butthole, despite the fact that that is where poo comes out, I think natural gases still need an escape.
Oh, vampire farts, Amber. This could be a whole new lane.
I think they do though, so I think that they need to have a.
Oh, what would a vampire fart smell like?
I don't know, but they're definitely. I really apologize to all of our listeners. I definitely think that they would produce waste.
Yeah, your body can't use all of it.
And also, because they are born, it's not something that they're necessarily made as well. So they're born. Eventually, evolution would definitely happen. Whereas, it's not. It would be through natural selection, wouldn't it? So if they had really bad farts, they wouldn't get a female.
I mean, unless she was into that, no kink shaming. I'm not saying it's my cup of tea, but I know that there are, people out there.
Definitely Leah's. Leah was definitely into it.
Into vampire farts?
Yeah.
Leah's into vampire farts. That's our newest fan theory, guys. Okay. I think that we're good to move on from our vampire butt topic, but
You started it.
I am willing to revisit this topic. I'm sure that someone's going to leave a mean comment, but we got to look at this scientifically and from all angles. Like Amber and I are people of science. We like to know the scientific reason behind things.
We like to know that even though supernatural creatures would and are magical, we like to believe that there is an element of truth to them and that it would make sense for them to exist.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I'm a parent, so it's like body functions and poop and things like that. Like, you hit this point where it's just not like weird. It's not all that weird anymore. And I know that some people are still just like, oh my God. But, after you've changed 100 poopy diapers, you're just like, oh, it's poop. Oh well. I'm sure it's the same way. Like Amber, you're going to be getting into dog breeding,
Puppies. Yeah.
And you're gonna deal with poop all the time. Lots of poop. Probably way more than I had to deal with.
Well, yeah, it's times maybe like 8 to 16 puppies at the time.
Yeah, your life is gonna be poop. So.
Yep.
But it's worth it because 8 to 16 puppies.
Yep, and only for 8 weeks at a time before they go off to their new homes.
See, that's what I wouldn't.
Smart.
Do. I would keep them all.
Oh yeah, but they are gonna definitely stay in contact with me because that's the kind of breeder that you want. Is that somebody that you can go and ask questions about the breed and training and things like that. You always want to make sure that you have your breeder in your pocket so that you can always go back and ask questions. Or if you want to go on holiday and you want someone who you can trust and knows the breed intimately, and is not going to make mistakes, I could definitely have the puppies back at some point.
Puppy play date where everybody gets together.
Yay! Puppy party! Woo!
All right, next note is yours, and I love this one.
So I said that Macy suddenly realizes that she's the squishy of the group. She's like, but guys, I'm now more likely to break my bones than anybody else in the group. And I'm like, you're a witch. What did you expect? Like, witches in every role-playing game, tabletop game, every single version of anything, they're always the person that stays at the back, does not do hand-to-hand combat, just is like, no, I'm a range character.
Yeah, that's
I stay out of the way.
When I play a game, that's always my character. Like, I'm like, okay, give me the archer, give me the mage, I'll heal y'all, but I'm going to stay way the hell back here. You go fight the dragon. I'll be back here shooting arrows like a coward.
It was just the way that she suddenly was like, wait a minute. I'm squishy. I'm vulnerable.
It just at that very moment, that was like the first time it occurred to her.
Yeah. But then she doesn't play into it. She never stays back. She never is deciding to not take a part in combat or in a battle. She doesn't shy away from things. Yeah.
She can shield herself too. So that probably.
And I think this spoilers and not spoilers at the same time. Like, she does heal people occasionally, but it's just really funny to know that a Grace eventually is the one that's like, it's good. I'll take this from you. Do you reckon she was really bad at it? Like Professor Lockhart. He's like, don't worry, I'll mend this.
wait, no.
As you can see, he has no broken bones.
Well, I mean, they're never like, all the times Grace has gotten hurt, no one's like, go get Macy.
No.
They're getting Maurice.
No. Yep, I think that another little fan theory. Macy is shockingly bad at healing people.
Yeah, she's nobody. I mean, I'm trying to think of a specific. Okay, I won't say them out loud. But Macy hasn't done any major life-saving healing in the series.
Nope. It's because she can't.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she's just not there yet. She's a year younger than...
Well, she's a wizard. She isn't a cleric or a bard or a paladin. There you go. She's definitely a wizard. Not very many wizards in Dungeons and Dragons have healing spells.
She can make portals and light one candle. Poor Macy. Her powers aren't the coolest. However,
maybe she'd be able to heal them if it was a full moon or something.
She'll summon the power of the moon. So Flint's transition into a dragon after Grace and Flint decide that they are going to go out and fly, but Grace doesn't know how to transition yet. Flint drops down on all fours and gets all shimmery and rainbowy, and then a big bright light shines, and then he's a dragon, which I'm going to make the cover photo real quick of what I pictured on the card if you want to refresh or whatever you need to do. It reminds me of Dragon Tales when the little kids hold their little dragon scale and all the little dragons fly around them, and then it gets all rainbowy, and then a big bright light appears, and then they go to their happy little dragon land. I'll remove that from the card cover because that was very distracting. But that is what I pictured. Did you have Dragon Tales?
Technically, no, I don't know what that is.
Oh my god, it was like a daytime television cartoon that played for like preschoolers, and it was all little goofy dragons. I bet if you saw the characters, you would recognize them because they're pretty goofy looking, but also it was very popular like in the 90s. I think Dragon Tales was 90s. Anyway. So
I've never heard of it.
Flint shifts.
I don't even recognize
and
the pictures.
Grace is petting him. But then she realizes that she's talking to him and asking him questions, and Hudson's like, he can't reply, right? He can't talk. Like, what do you want him to do? Use smoke signals? And I just found it weird that, like, in all these years that dragons have been one of the factions in this world, that while shifted into dragon form, and, same for the wolves, I guess, they haven't yet found a decent way to communicate to everyone in their human forms while shifted. Like,
they seem to be a little bit like dogs. They're trying to communicate, but not doing very good at it.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Flint starts like nuzzling his way in between Grace's legs, and she's freaking out until she realizes that he's just trying to flip her body up on top of his head so she can slide down his neck and position herself on his back. But when I was reading that whole part about him trying to pry his dragon head between her legs, I was like, I think I got an ad for an Amazon book like this once.
Yes.
I don't think I've read any books like that. I don't think I want to read any books like that. No shame if
there was a bit as well where she said that, like, she had to come to terms with the fact that a boy that was not her boyfriend was shoving his head between her legs, and she also had to cope with the fact that Hudson was watching
and laughing.
I was like, wow, like, would the scenario be different if it was your boyfriend pushing his head between your legs and Hudson was still watching?
And the fact that it's a I don't know, if I had a friend who could turn into a dragon, I think that if I looked at them, it would be hard to, like, not see them as, like, a creature if they weren't, like, communicating with me. Like, I feel like my brain would be like, oh my God, that's a big giant creature. You know, like I still,
Yeah.
I don't feel like, oh, my good buddy here. I feel like for the first time I saw it, I mean, after a while, I'm sure you would get used to it. But the first time I saw it, I think I would pee myself, which wouldn't do good
Yeah.
for a dragon trying to, you know, put
I tried
their
to clicker train him.
clicker trick. Come
Click, click.
here, Flint.
I think it would work remarkably well.
um,
And weave.
Meow, meow, meow.
Do an agility course. Oh my god, an agility course in the sky. How cool will that be?
That would be fun. They could do it like if they did it like a big like a Quidditch field, but it had like all the tubes and stuff up in the air.
Or like inflatable balloony.
Or
I'm imagining it like you know, there's like obstacle courses that are inflatable and you have them on a big like swimming pool.
Wipeout,
Like
yeah. Yeah, like the Wipeout courses.
Total Wipeout.
Or have you seen the game show The Hole in a Wall? Where you have to like fit yourself perfectly. Imagine that, but in the air with dragons, and they have to like perfectly align their body, or they smack into the wall.
Let's do that.
Dragon hole in a wall.
We're inventing dragon sports.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have not got a dragon.
Aww. Tracy, giving you idea. And Tracy, if she was listening to this episode, she was gone at the do vampires poop part. She was out of here. So never mind, Tracy. You don't have to worry about taking this note. I'll take it down for you. Dragon games.
Yep.
So
we got a dragon flyball, dragon agility. We like to call it dragility.
Dragility.
What else is there?
Dragon hole in a wall.
Dragon hole in a wall. Dragon obedience with the clicker training. And maybe some like, just like, you know, like the hoopers, like dog hoopers, where they run through tunnels.
Yeah.
Constantly. Yeah, I want to do that. I found a sport that I think my dog would be amazing at, but there's like literally 2 people in the world that play it. And it's called tribal. And you have like, you know, those yoga balls, you know, those big like exercise balls you get. They have to push them into the goal with their nose. And I want to try it. So now I've bought a yoga ball for my dog.
Smear some peanut butter on it until he gets
Just
it.
imagine that with dragons. Oh.
Just like with horses. Have you ever seen the horses play with the big giant like inflatable like beach balls, and they like roll them all around? Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
So here's a thought. Grace looks back while riding Flint and notices that Hudson is behind her having fun. He's like smiling and laughing and enjoying himself. And she is surprised that he's there, but he's like, yeah, we're attached. Like
I'm attached.
I'm in your head, which makes me wonder if while flying on Flint, for some reason, Hudson were to have fallen off, jumped off, would he respawn back?
Yes.
He would just like a few seconds later, like, and then just be back behind her? Because that sounds fun. I would just keep jumping. Whee!
Yes. And it also does make me wonder because not only in this scene where he had disappeared, but also before the laundry scene, he also has disappeared. And he says that it was because he had some things to do. What things, Hudson? What things did you have to do? Because you're a figment of someone's imagination currently. Like, there's not much you could do. What could you... You're not doing your taxes. You're not, like, retiling your roof. You're not bleeding radiators. What things did you have to do? Is it by any chance relieving some of the sexual tension that you had whilst riding on a dragon?
I didn't think about that. No, I think
like the first one was like in the magic circle when they had like the goo eyes at each other, and then all of a sudden he poofed and left. And you said, oh, it was because he was pitching a tent. I think you're right.
He
ran away.
Didn't we get the answer in court though? Like where he went? Wasn't he going to do more research? But
I don't know. I don't know.
I think he was going to do more research, but even with that being the case, that also wouldn't, if he disappears, he would have had to have gone to the library, right?
So why did he then have to follow her onto Flint's back when they were flying?
That's what, maybe because he wanted to. He wanted to be all pressed up against her.
But yeah, each time he disappears and says, "Oh, it's because I had things to do," and I think it is because he had to. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think the average for like a teenage boy is like 3 times a day.
But this is the first time that he's had to go do it. It's because she's making Google eyes at him. And it's not like he could act upon it.
I'm catching the feels. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a bit like you said that he was joining her on the back of Flint, but he wasn't exactly enjoying himself. He says, "I thought this was gonna be fun."
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And when he said "bugger this," it just reminds me of any time you make a straight white male Brit do anything.
Is that the default?
Like, oh, can you do this? Oh, bugger this, or bugger that, bugger this, bugger that. So I put him on a roller coaster. Bugger this. You gotta say it. You gotta say it in the right way, and that's how I imagine him. Just like, yeah. It was great. It was a great way of shoveling in a little Britishism into there.
Yeah, that's another Britishism that is not here at all. Like, we hear it, but it's the most British thing ever. Just like,
and I wouldn't even say that it's something that most people would say.
Your TV, I don't know, watching movies and stuff, I would say that it's the default thing that a script writer will throw in for British characters. I mean, I'm sure that there are American phrases that we don't actually say as well that are on TV and movies. At least over there, like what you guys are fed.
I can't even think of anything.
Yeehaw!
Yes, that. But then when you go to Texas Roadhouse, my dreams are reenacted.
Yeah, but everybody at Texas Roadhouse is like an idiot.
Is that the prerequisites for being able to say yeehaw?
Well, you have to act like an idiot. You don't have to be an idiot. That's not like everybody who works at Texas Roadhouse is an idiot. But you have to be willing to take this thing called your pride and your integrity.
Dignity.
Yeah, and you hang that up on your little hook when you get to work and you get out on the floor and you dance around like an idiot.
Which is what Grace is about to do.
That's true. That's true.
What a great segue.
What a great segue. I did have one thing that I missed. If Dragon's clothes get ripped off, I'm just saying, wouldn't it be more efficient if before they shifted, they just got naked like the wolves in Twilight? They didn't do that.
They do in Zodiac Academy. And I remember it being just really funny. Just like, why are you stripping again? He's like, I'm clearly going to shift. Like, I want to be a dragon. And they're like, why do you have to be naked every time? It's like, because I don't want to rip up my clothes. And apparently they take off all of your clothes, they shift, and then they carry their clothes in their mouth, a little teeny weeny folded parcel of clothes.
See, in the Twilight,
I think Flint needs saddlebags.
In the Twilight movies, they left that part out, but the wolves wear like a little piece of leather around their legs.
Yeah.
And they tie their clothes around their legs.
Which seems to be really like not a very effective method of carrying clothes.
No, I would just ditch them in the woods.
A little wolf backpack. Oh, how cute would that be? It's like, how terrified would you be if a werewolf jumped out in front of you compared to a werewolf wearing a backpack?
A werewolf wearing a backpack, but it's covered in like all the little keychains and like jingly things that kids have on their backpacks.
Yeah, and quite clearly you can see a sock hanging out of the zip hole.
It's like a Hello Kitty backpack. Someone draw this. One of you guys is artistic. Draw this picture for us and tag us at Crave Series Aesthetic. We want it. Okay. Oh, so we are on to the dance scene. One thing that I've got two things. First thing is that I really used to love this scene, but Amber, your husband's ruined this scene for me because I tried to read it and I could only hear his recorded version, which for those who don't know, on the Crave the Book Podcast YouTube channel for Valentine's Day, Amber's husband, Scott, did Hudson's lines because he's very British. And I did Grace's lines for the laundry room scene. And my favorite part of that whole recording is that I put in like shoes squeaking. So he goes, dance with me, Grace. And then you hear like he's scooting around. But anyway, so that scene.
So you're telling me that my husband didn't make you have all the gooey feelings of Hudson?
No, but apparently he has everybody else feeling the ooey gooey feelings of Hudson because we've had a lot more requests for more. Like nobody gives a crap about me doing Grace's lines, but they have requested that Scott come back and do more Hudson lines. So.
Okay.
Put in a request.
We need to find some really embarrassing scenes for him to record.
Embarrassing scenes.
I think that the fight scene with the gladiators would be a really good scene. That's not embarrassing.
No.
My favorite.
But that would be a good one because Grace doesn't talk a whole lot, so you could just have him yelling.
You could just have him yelling, and then you just go from the floor.
I can't.
Oh. I give it.
That was great. That was a great.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to. That was a spot on impression, Amber. Great job.
That was my impression of Starla, not Grace, by the way.
Perfect. You do
every Monday. I don't want it.
That is my impression every Monday. Because it's not recording. The recording of the podcast isn't the part that I don't like. It's like the setting up and the editing it and all that. But
the writing the notes is the worst.
Yeah, I don't like writing notes. So we get a little teaser type thing in here that I caught where, and I've read it so many times, but it stood out to me where Grace says, how did you know this was my favorite song? Or how did you know that I love this song? And Hudson said, you really don't remember anything about the 4 months we spent together. So if Hudson knew that Shut Up and Dance was one of Grace's favorite songs, that means that either she told him or they've already danced to it before and he was trying to like spark the memory.
I don't think he was. So the way that I've reread it 3 times. The way that I now read that scene is that they had the moment with the magic candles, and then they had the moments of riding on a dragon, and I think that he got swept up in the moment and thought that it was like every other day whilst they were trapped in the gargoyle.
Aww.
That's why he was really like flirty with her and things like that. And then he does say, I guess I saw what I thought I wanted to see this afternoon. And I think that he got caught up. He got caught up in that like, if a guy acted like that and a girl acted like that around and neither of them were attached to anybody else, you would look at them and go, oh, they were romantic scenes in a movie. But Grace doesn't feel that way about him yet.
See, that makes it so much sadder.
Yeah, and that's why when he goes cold, it's because I think he's not just trying to get that moment back for them, but he was trying to continue the feeling.
Yeah.
He was trying to say, like, okay, we've had a really amazing afternoon together. Like, there was nothing that, like, you said that particularly upset me. Like, we can just dance together. Let's just be happy together. And she is kind of dragging her heels a bit, but she does eventually lean into it. And I think that it was his way of just kind of prolonging the day, because he knew that eventually it was going to come to an end.
Yeah. Yeah, in my note I said guys going cold is the worst feeling. Like that feeling where, you've got someone emotionally vulnerable, and then just you either say something wrong, or they say something, or a memory gets brought up, and they just like you can see them just close up, like
Yeah.
all the windows get boarded up at once instantaneously, and you're left on the outside. Like, that's the worst.
The no trespassing sign, as Grace likes to put it.
Yeah. Like that, especially when like they're fine and then they're not out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh, but there's nothing that you can do to help.
Yeah. Like I read this laundry scene as have you ever had a day with your husband where you have had an argument, but then they come in and they pretend that nothing's wrong, and that they're trying to love you, and they're trying to make you laugh, and they're trying to make you smile, whilst not bringing up the fact that you were unhappy earlier.
Yeah.
And yet you're still the one that's like, no, I'm still stewing over this. I'm still digesting what happened. I can't just suddenly be happy again. And even though you are trying not to smile at the things, because you know that they're trying really hard to cheer you up, you're like, no, I'm not in the right headspace to have fun yet.
Yeah.
And I think that was what that scene was, and it makes me still smile, because I think it comes from a point of Hudson thinking that Grace was remembering how it felt to be safe and loved by him. And then all of a sudden it goes back to like, well, no, I thought that I was just having fun with you. It wasn't anything serious.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It is sad. He says that he also says that they were trapped for more than 100 days, which I guess it's kind of spoilery, but we learn that it's more than that.
Way more than 100 days.
I wonder, I don't think that was Tracy's original plan. I think that it was more that she's like, ooh, we could have a lot more fun and charm if we made it longer.
It also causes more heartbreak, with the fact that so much time has elapsed since they were together, and then all of a sudden she doesn't remember any of it. Like 3 months is like okay, so you had like the beginnings of love. A year and a half is like you can fully fall completely, deeply, irrevocably in love with somebody. See what I did there?
Haha.
You completely fall in love with somebody in a year, and for them to then go back and be in love with your brother is even worse.
Yeah. And have to see it.
3 months in terms of a teenager as well. 3 months is a really long time, but when you're an adult like me and Starla, where you're 30, 3 months is like, I thought that was last week.
Yeah.
Like, it's gone.
That's like, man, when my husband went to basic training, I look back on the statuses that I posted, because he was gone for 8 weeks. Yeah, 8 weeks. So not even 3 months. And I look back at all the statuses that I posted. It would have been 11 years ago. And I roll my eyes so hard at myself, where I was like, I don't know what to do without him. The space on the bed beside me has gone cold, and I'm laying here alone. I've drank myself into oblivion tonight. I'm holding your picture, baby, and I hope that you're thinking of me too. And I'm sitting here today like, man, if he decided that he wanted to go on like, I don't know, like a little boy's vacation or something, like I think that I would just sit and watch my Twilight movies and like do a jigsaw puzzle. Like, I think I wouldn't be, I would be upset, but like I wouldn't be laying in a puddle of my own tears.
I mean, you watched me be completely alone in a new country, new continent, and my husband just went and did his own thing for 4 days, 5 days, and I was like, nothing for me. I just, it's to the point where I'm like, he goes away for work for this long normally. At least now I know he's having fun, whereas at work I know that he's miserable and that he probably wants to talk to me because I'm the only person that's available because everybody else is at work. But yeah, I noticed the passage of time is getting faster and faster the older I get.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, wow, I didn't realize I said that I would do this thing for you tomorrow, and that was 3 weeks ago. Sorry. Whoops.
Yeah.
Like when I was a teenager and I would come home from school, I swear there would be like 3 days worth of an afternoon that I just bummed around and did nothing. What did I do? Genuinely, can I get those hours back somehow? That would be great.
Yeah. And that I always live with this the whole like you are dying idea in my head. Like I wake up every day and I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, well really I wake up if you
are one day closer to death.
Really, if you live with that mindset where you're like, I am here for a limited time, and then if I take the time that I'm going to be here and I cut that in half, because I'm sure that I'm not going to be fully functional for my later years. I'm not going to be as spry and wanting to jump up and move the way that I do now. We really do have limited time. So I always think about the fact that, if I am dying every single day and my job is to make the most of my time here and to help others and to bring value to the world, whether it be through my work or this podcast, as silly as it is, we don't get paid for this. We haven't added any ad. We really want to do the ads. I just need to figure out how to do ads on our podcast. But we do this for you guys. And I think that the fact that we do this and we don't get paid to do it, like it's just our own leisurely thing, you get more authentic responses from us because it's one of those things where like, yeah, we might have had a silly conversation about like vampire butts today, but at the same time, if I was getting paid to do this, I would be like, oh, I maybe we shouldn't talk about this. Maybe
gotta stay professional.
Yeah, maybe we should stay professional. Maybe we shouldn't, be this silly. But the fact that this is literally just something that we do for fun for you guys, I mean, it's not as high stakes. It's not like I'm worried that because it means that you guys like us because you like us and you like the content that we're bringing you, and it makes it more authentic. Whereas, with my business, I'm a business coach and I've got like a ton of YouTube subscribers, but they're there to learn something. They're not there because they like to hear me talk about business. They're there because they want what's in it for me, This is different. This is a different
but
vibe.
At the same time, the day that we skip a week because we're like either ill or whatever, it's the worst thing in the world to suddenly have to make that decision. Is like, I want to do this thing for fun, but I'm also dying, and I don't know which one to do.
Yeah, it's a hard decision.
People
like
depending on me.
It feels like it. Like when my dog passed away, it was like one of those things where I feel so bad not doing the podcast. But I'm like, wait a minute, this is unpaid work. And if I was at a job where I was getting paid right now, I would be taking the day off. So like everybody does deserve some time. But just seeing we're up to 10,000 downloads.
Woo!
Yeah.
We should do like a giveaway or something.
We'll figure it out. I was trying to think of like...
So I was thinking that like we should do a copy of Court that is signed by you and me.
Yeah, because I've got that extra copy of Court. I have 3 copies of Court and I have 1 normal, like non-special edition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll do something like that.
Yeah, we'll do a signed copy, and then you will have a copy of Court that I do not have.
And
Goddamn books.
I still have your dragon edition. I just need to.
I'm very excited.
I need to ship it.
Yeah. And then it will be put on my shelf, which is going really well, by the way. I now have a Mockingjay pin, and I have a dragon egg. I made a dragon egg.
And you have a flower for Crave.
And I have a flower for Crave, yep. And some Harry Potter glasses as well. And it's all white as well, like all painted with like white enamel paint. Like they like slightly shiny, and it's so beautiful. And I need to make my diorama with a wolf, but I keep getting scared to start a project because if it's not to do with work, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, I've my bookshelf, I've got one of the tall, like it's like a tree, so my plans, I was gonna do like all my cute little shelf things, but I just don't have the space. So I've got a tall like space saver shelf. But
Well,
we only have one more note on here, and it was the like last line of chapter, was it 57? Yeah. Last line of chapter 57, and it was just another one of those Hudson lines that I was just like, ooh. Because first,
sweating.
yeah, the where Grace says, you know, she lays down and she's like, thank you for today, because she was really, it was nice to be able to see that side of Hudson, and he was able to kind of relax a little bit, and they were able to have fun, and he taught.
And he gave her some reassurance as well. Like, he actually, before he even taught her how to turn into a gargoyle with her strings, he actually reassured her. He was like, you can do anything. Like,
yeah.
You are going to smash this because I know you.
Yeah. And he says, don't thank me. And she says, why not? And he says, because if you do, I'll do something you regret. And it's like one of those things like, what does it mean? Like, we know what it means now.
So it's
but
like you and me immediately would go, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll thank you again. Just, I want to know what you're going to do that you're going to regret, because I won't regret it.
Yeah. Especially, it's like in, I won't say the scene, but in Covet, where Grace's iconic line of do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Yeah, that was another one of those lines that were at the time, it's like, do it. I didn't know, like, first read through, I was like, what does he mean? Like, because I was getting mixed signals. Like, first time reading, I didn't know that. I just didn't know. I was still like a little bit suspicious, you know?
There's a bit as well, and I can't remember whether it's before or after this scene where he scrapes his fangs across her throat, and that's the only time I actually get a little bit hot about a vampire. I'm not a vampire lover at all. Like, it, as fiction goes, it's not for me. Like, it's not something that I fantasize about. But that bit, and I think it's because humans can do it too, and it, yeah.
The implications of a vampire doing it are different. It goes on the same grounds of that whole world-ending power type thing, which you do like.
Yes, and I also like the fact that he knew that he shouldn't have been doing it.
But
that's also the thing.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not my girl, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Do we have any spoilers at all?
No, nothing. Even like, I was even trying to come up with some, and I think that everything that we've already said in previous episodes as a spoiler. I mean, we could go into some of the string theories. We can go into some of the, like, I mean, we had a few theories where we were just saying that, like, I think Hudson genuinely was happy in that scene. He wasn't trying to force anything. He just, for a second, thought that Grace was on the same page as him and was just as comfortable with him again as she had been when she was in her gargoyle. But yeah.
Well, I guess we're done. I guess that's it. That this episode is like an hour on the dot.
Woo!
Perfect.
And I think next episode we get the Ludez training, which is some of my favorite scenes as well, where Flint genuinely does teach Grace how to fly.
Yeah.
And Jackson's actually useful and is nice to her. And he's like, oh yeah, well, I just, thought I'd let you go and see how far you'd do it by yourself. I'm like, oh, finally. You're letting her be a woman.
Being her own independent person without little vampire little brother. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening. Sorry this episode was kind of weird. Make sure that you check out the Crave the Book Podcast YouTube channel for our weekly ASMRs. We did Jackson last week. On Sunday. It was Jackson and Grace under the Northern Lights. It was or you and Jackson under the Northern Lights if you want to.
Me and my Hudson.
If you want to fantasize, that's the word I'm looking for. If you want to fantasize and listen to the night sounds and the wind twirling around. Fantasize. So that one's available. With a fang. You've got, and then the week before that, it was Monster Taffy. And I don't know what I'm going to do this week. I haven't decided yet. So I'll experiment a little. We have a lot of ideas, but I've got to
we need the Easter one. The Easter one you wanted. The Easter one you wanted, the Easter idea. And I came up with the exact same idea just as you were saying the idea, and then you'd already boo-hooed it.
Dragon eggs hatching.
I was thinking dragon eggs hatching. I was just like, how cute would it be to have like the little baby animals like as creatures? But yeah, I think you're right. 30 minutes of just an egg cracking.
Like, wee, wee, wee. So whatever a dragon sounds like, baby dragons. We'll do dragon eggs and wolf eggs.
Wolf eggs?
Yeah, wolf eggs.
I'm just scrolling through the ideas and seeing whether there's any that are particularly springy.
Eastery. If you guys have any ideas, because Sundays is when I post the ASMRs, and obviously Easter falls on a Sunday. It'll be April 17th. We wanted to do something kind of spring themed or Easter themed. So feel free to give some suggestions. I was going to maybe do because we've done a winter walk around Katmere Academy. I could totally do a spring walk around Katmere Academy and then do one for every season.
What about Easter egg hunt at the Dragon's Lair?
At the Dragon's Lair?
Yeah, I'm just thinking like dragon either with the dragons, or it's an Easter egg hunt somewhere else, like a giant forest or something. And then you find the eggs and you get like the gasps was like yay and woo.
Yay and woo. Amber, I cannot stress enough how stupid the yays and woo sounds are in this stock. I pay for story blocks. I was trying to find some for I wanted to do the Ludares tournament, and I was trying to collect all the sounds, and I didn't end up finding enough. But all the yays, I clicked on one, and it was like a woman who went, yay.
Oh.
Or
no, I don't want that midway through an ASMR. Just like, oh, yay.
Or one single like old man going, yay. I need more stock websites, but they're very expensive, so. All right. I think that we're good. Guys, thanks for hanging out. Feel free to message us over at Crave Series Aesthetic if you have any ideas for the ASMR this week. I will say that we've been getting quite a few messages over there, and we do try to keep up with them, but if we don't answer you, it's not because we don't want to. It's because we're very busy, and we try to at least read them. So thanks for hanging out.
I also forget I have other profiles on Instagram sometimes.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, I've got a message on Instagram, and then it goes to my actual page, and then I forget to check the other one.
Yeah. I try to pop in and keep an eye on it when I can. But Guys, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.